we're doing lots of work in the shop here. I built this whole huge thing. We'll do a tour of that in the next video, but right now Barry's back. And also I haven't finished building this, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Barry's back, which means this work on perihelion is continuing. We've got a huge excavation done and the weather doesn't look so hot today, so hopefully we can cut up some beams and screw and glue down some plywood before it pisses on us.
How many inches is this? 3 inches, say?
It's gonna be 3 by the time we're done.
So then, what's 3 times 12?
That's 36. No, it's 1 by 12 for your scarf.
12 to 1 is a proper
That's
scarf. We don't need
12
to do
to
that.
1. That's ridiculous.
That's
About 12
stronger
to
than the wood.
I'm
if
giving
you
you
do
12
it
to 3. How about that?
Okay, that's also great. We'll through bolt and it'll be better.
So because this beam is at the front of the boat and goes all the way across, it's short, but we can't actually get it underneath and into its little nubs that hold it in the beam shelf. So we have to chop it in half and then glue those together, bolt them through in order to get the whole thing to even fit in there.
There's
So you
just
have to
no
drop
putting
it in.
a big piece like that into a...
Well, the way that it would originally work when they were at the shipyard is that they built the boat from the bottom up, so the beams sunk into the beam shelf and then the cap rail and everything were bolted on top and glued down. We're not taking the cap rail off of our beam shelves, we're slotting them into the holes, and as a result we can't drop the beam in completely. We have to either scarf on the ends like we've been doing all the other beams, or in this case, since we're replacing a whole beam, make a scarf down the center of it. It is what it is.
Whoa!
Do this. Okay, each of 2 pieces, let's pattern
Bing,
them
bang,
up.
boom. Done.
Looks good. All right, let's cut. So the bottom we don't need. You can lower the
Yeah,
bottom
we can,
down.
you're right. We can totally retrace that.
Right, put this down. That we don't, like the bottom is
Yeah.
correct. It's the top side that we need to
Add material.
material. The question is, that's gonna be really close.
That we're not going to have room for the material on both, I don't think.
Well, look, we do.
Do we?
Yeah, it's
Yeah?
only
Okay, cool.
it's only like a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, sweet.
So let's start tacking this into place
Yep.
and then do a marking. What I do when I'm patterning on canvas is like we mark dots all the way along, and then we'll use this ruler, or in this case a batten, to draw a straight line, because our patterns are always off by a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're wobbly, so we want to straighten them out.
wobbly, and we put the weight down and we stretch it out. So this will actually be moved up 1/4 inch, right? So let's draw our points. It's not a nuclear reactor, so it doesn't have to be like down to the micrometer perfect.
Like jiu-jitsu, you train for 100% because when your adrenaline's pumping and you're fighting someone in the streets, you're going to be at 20%.
I mean, it is only 1/4 inch, so I think we just have enough room for the saw blade.
That's what
and
shmoo is for. If we're off,
Right.
put some goo in there.
You meet a guy out in the streets, all your jiu-jitsu training flies out of your head and you just goo yourself.
Yeah. He's about to start a fight.
So Barry's measurements. Barry, what do you have to say for yourself?
I'd like a smaller Sharpie.
All right, I'm headed out the door right now to go home, and I have a flight to catch to see my family. But this package came in and it's kind of got me excited because Bougie RV they were sending me out a solar panel. Not really a solar panel shaped box. So I'm just curious. I'll open it up and see what it looks like. I don't know. I don't think it's like a solar charge controller. It could be a battery, but it's kind of light, so. Like, I knew they said it was a flexible, but like, seriously, rolled up? Are you kidding me? It's just freaking rolled inside of a box. Like, this is just mind-blowing. Okay. It's like not under pressure. Kind of rolled up pretty calmly. Look at this. This is what people think they're getting when they order like a flexible solar panel. No, these are the panels that, like, I've never seen a panel flex like this. Oh, that is gorgeous. All right, you guys gotta see the detail. This is just amazing. Okay. I'm so used to seeing the white ones. I'm not used to seeing the black. Like, I feel like it might overheat. It's so dark. It's so pretty. It's got to be less than a millimeter thick. That is just nuts. Like, it's not quite get a paper cut thin, but that's crazy. Okay, so 25 volts max power, 100 watts, 4 amps, open circuit, 31.5 volts. So this is like a pretty standard 24 volt solar panel. That's what I always call them, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I always have to explain this to people. It doesn't matter really what the voltage of the solar panel is compared to what your battery bank is in a will it work scenario. It only matters for what the maximum voltage of your solar charge controller. So when you buy a solar charge controller, the two things that you're concerned with are like maximum solar voltage and maximum charging amperage. Those are the two main things that you see. And so like companies like Victron, they just put those numbers right on the front. So yeah, this is pretty long. This is like taller than I am. So I am very tall. I'm 6'6". You know, so everyone knows somebody who's an inch taller than that, but still, it's taller than me. 2 meters. This is more than 2 meters. This is probably like 7.5 feet. I think they've got the measurements. I'll put the measurements right here. But yeah, this is so rad. Like, if you were to put this on a car or van, it would probably take the length of the entire van, I'm thinking, of the entire roof of it anyway. And there's plenty of space on boats. Like, I could see a lot of monohull people being excited about this because this could fit onto cabin tops, one on either side type of thing, very easily. It's incredibly thin, and you have 8 little mounting holes for hardware. Now, I've done some Renogy solar panels before, and they had kind of a non-skid surface. This is not non-skid at all, and this, like, it's so thin and it's so compact, like, it doesn't have any give. I'm not feeling any give here, so I'm gonna guess it will stand up fairly well to being lightly trodden on from time to time. So if you're thinking about putting this on your boat under the boom, where you might have to stand on it to pull down the mainsail from time to time, fine. I wouldn't put it on the main walkway of your deck and walk on it over and over again, because that would be my decision. Of course, with these companies, they do, like, Bougie RV is not a fly-by-night company. They've been around for a while now, so there's some good customer care, but they suggest you don't walk on these things. They always kind of suggest you don't walk on solar panels as a rule, but you know, sometimes there's an emergency and you need to, so it's nice to know what it's capable of. And just from touching it and feeling it, I'm going to tell you, you probably walk on this barefoot at least. Soft rubber soles will go putting your stiletto into this. That'll definitely mar it because this top surface feels not very hard, but the panel itself feels very dense. Like, it doesn't have any give. We're gonna go and install this on the front of my boat because I have a couple of square feet of strip of real estate and I want every ounce of solar I can possibly get. And since this is a long and skinny solar panel, it'll fit perfectly up there. So let's go do that, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the thing. All right, this time I'm not gonna make the same mistake as last time, and I'm not gonna put any screws in this thing. I'm just put the Sikaflex. Here we go. Nice thing is this thing is so light. I don't really have too many worries about it flying off at any momentum. A flexible panels installation is so much easier than the rigid panels. All right, let's go and stick it on.
In a world of heartbreak,
All right, so we got it wired up to our Victron solar charge controller there, checking it on the app. I'm getting similar numbers per watt capacity as I am out of my main solar array, which is in the same location. It's not very sunny today, so I think I was only putting 22 watts out of it today, but this is like the sunniest day we've had in a while. It's pretty close to the solstice. We're pretty far north and it's covered in clouds. So it's not bad numbers at all for what it is. And the installation was like the fastest, quickest installation I've ever done for a solar panel. So that was great. I think the size is kind of fun. It allows itself to be installed in places you probably don't expect to be able to install a solar panel. So yeah, I kind of want to get some more and maybe sew them into something because it's incredibly thin. I've never seen solar panels that thin. If you guys are interested, please check it out. Link is in the description. Thank you, Bougie RV, for sending that thing out. Good morning. I'm trying to finish a great big project I've been working on this week. This is a entire Dodger bimini connecting cloth and all the enclosure panels for a 32-foot sailboat. So we're gonna hopefully get it done in the next 2 days. And I'm kind of at the fun part, so I decided I'd just show that. Because everything up until now has been kind of tedious and a little stressful, but now we're just doing like the finishing bits and making it nice. So I'm into that. This is a real bummer. I always hate when I do this kind of stuff. I went to go put my connecting cloth on, and I've fitted this on many times before, but last night I cut the ends of the zippers and melted. I've been doing this thing with a hot knife where I just like put an extra tooth in there and it melts it all together and it makes a nice stop. Problem with it is you gotta leave a little bit, like this one's too skinny. Gotta leave a little more meat off on it because the zipper, when it's not connected to it, will slide right off, and that's what's happened. So I've lost a zipper head. Now luckily I have like a bucket of those things, so it's not the end of the world, but it means I have to go back to my shop. What do you think though, eh? Like, so I've done bimini connecting cloth Dodger, and we're gonna finish some of the hardware up here that's not been fixed yet. But then I've got these panels and I just need to mark where all the edges of the panels are, where they meet each other. And yeah, that'll let me unzip the panels, bring them back to my shop and start finishing those off. I gotta put windows in them and covers for the windows like this. These are nice. We got the nice soft touch stuff here, the locks. This should be sitting lower. Might actually have to put another stitch in there. Yeah, that's not good. That's got to cover the zipper, otherwise it goes bad in the sun. Yeah, almost there. Now, I just need to put a little bit more hardware on. So I got these cool cases, but they're a little fragile. See, I already broke that one. The nice thing about them is they're all separate. And these actually come out. There you go. They come out and I never do, but I could if I wanted to, just to carry one around with me. But it's kind of easy enough to just take the whole thing, and it saves me an extra trip in case there's some other piece of hardware I need. Yeah, we're gonna go punch in a few new holes and hammer in some more hardware. So when I'm doing the Dodger and the bimini and even the connecting cloth, I use a lot of pattern plastic. But when I'm doing enclosure panels, I find that it's less risky to simply measure and kind of pattern the top part of it and get that all done, and then hang it where it's going to hang, and pull all the wrinkles out of it and mark where the bottom sits, where the fasteners sit. I don't punch the fasteners in my shop. I like to punch them on the boat itself because, again, less risky. And I just want everything to pull tight, and I want the wrinkles to kind of even all out. So I've come along to all of the panels and marked where the edges all are, and I now know I can hem the bottoms, finish the zippers. There's a couple of zippers overhanging that need extra stitching, and so I've got to pull off almost everything, but I'm gonna leave the bimini because I don't need to do anything to that. But I definitely need to pull off the Dodger and the side panels and all the other side panels. So yeah, now we unzip everything. I'm back to the shop. I'm calling for rain the next 2 days, so hopefully I can get this done and fitted before the rain comes in. Alright, so I'm doing the back 3 panels. They're kind of funny because they need to all be done at the same time and figure out where the zippers are between them. So the first thing you do is you do the bottom, put a couple pieces of hardware onto it, and then that kind of all holds it in position, and then you decide where the zippers are going to fit, where it makes most sense. This case, I decided wrong for the bottom, and so I gotta go pull this hem out of the bottom, 2.5 inch hem. I found this trick. It's my old clippers. Obviously I haven't used in a while. Beard's growing a bit big, but yeah, it works really, really well. You just put a clamp on one side of the fabric and you pull the stitch open, and then you just brush this in there, and I've only managed to nick the cloth one time, and that was because I was really rushing it. It was being way too rough with some secondhand cloth. But with new cloth, this never happened, and it goes pretty quick. I mean, I just pulled, what is that, 48 inches worth of stitching, and I don't know. Now, oh yeah, the lock stitch at the end is always, at the beginning and end are always a problem, so you do still have to pick that normally. But anyway, goes a lot faster than you pick, and when you're done, you can just, clean up your beard. It's great. So now I've got all my measurements. I'm just going to hot knife the ends off again and do my new hems and get my new iron out and go to town on it. I can finally run it through the machine. Here's the panel. I now have all the edges done. Top side edge just has a regular hem and a zipper like that, nothing crazy, because there's a flap on the bimini that covers it. But these side edges don't have that, and also they're the main ones that you interact with. So I reinforce them with another hemmed cover on the inside that covers the teeth. And then you want the teeth covered on the outside too, especially because there's like nylon and some less UV resistant stuff in these zippers. So if you don't leave them covered up, they're the first thing to go. We're trying to get this stuff to last as long as possible. So now with my clients, I always do covers in the windows, I cover the zippers, and I also make sure to zip from the tops and centers out. Part of my whole shtick. Anyways, now we're gonna go hammer in some hardware and then go do a test fit, see how it all fits together so we can start windows. All right, business 101. I need to like actually count how many fasteners when I do a quote. I used up every fastener in my shop on many different types, and then burned through every zipper I had and ordered more and burned through those. And I burned through 50% more fabric than I thought I was going to. So that was a bummer of a learning experience, because I agreed to kind of stick to my quote and see how much the client is willing to budge on that, because I literally lost quite a few hundreds of dollars in materials on this project alone, never mind the labor, which of course took a lot longer than I anticipated. So, you know, just your average. If I was paying myself a wage, which I really ought to do one of these days, I would definitely have lost quite a lot of money on this project. This is my albatross, my first large-scale project of my business, and I made quite a lot of mistakes doing it. So let's walk through some of them. First is, I underquoted. That was basically where I set the whole foundation of this project awry. I also didn't know how long it would take, to be fair, and there's a lot of literature online supposedly to help you with that, but it's all misleading. The numbers online are way off what they actually are, and yeah, it was very challenging. Now, I'm a lot faster now than I was back then, but still, there's a lot I messed up. I put the wrong fasteners into all my common sense fasteners here, wrong backing, so they got little holes that the client has filled with silicone so that water doesn't drip on his head while he's sitting on below when it's raining. I did the hems on my zippers all wrong, so they end up sitting on themselves wrong and then bleaching out the zipper in the UV. Don't do that anymore, that's all wrong. I hung my panels off of here and didn't bother patterning them. I just did them in situ. Don't do that either. I tried to film YouTube videos while there's a seaplane going by. Don't do that! Yeah, I'm still not done with this project. I gotta yank these off today and fix a lot of the problems of the things I messed up. Like, look at that. It's all sitting wrong. The hardware is yanked out of the pole back there. They've used it all summer long, but you know, there's a lot of imperfections. There's a lot of sag and wrinkles. And of course, the ugliest side is the one on the dock. Lovely. Love it. Anyway, I'm gonna go sort this out. These planes about to take off. Thank you guys for watching. This has been kind of an episode of showing how the business is going. And yeah, got its ups and downs. We're figuring it out. Got a little bit more money in the bank now than I did when I started. That at least is a little bit better. But yeah, it's eating up a lot of time. I don't know if it's paying off yet. And I don't know if it ever will. At least I'm getting better at sewing. See you guys in the next episode.